Harry couldn't understand it. He just couldn't believe it, what Snape was saying. He just couldn't believe it. "No," said Harry, baffled by Snape's claims. "Sirius is supposed to be my godfather, right?" Snape rolled his eyes at Potter and gave a sneer smile of snugness. "Ah, Potter, your father wanted Black to be your godfather, but your mother had other ideas," said Snape. "She wanted me to be your godfather instead. Of course, they had an argument about it, but in the end, your mother was the one to decide." "Oh, I remember the days. She invited me to the house, once. Not long after you were born, Potter. I remember it was yesterday." Harry could tell that Snape had a small smile on his face, and remembering a time that was much better than the ones he now knew. Harry wanted to tell Snape a question. He wanted to ask if Snape had truly loved his mother, but he was too afraid to do so. He was worried that if he had asked the question, Snape would have yelled at him yet again, just like he always did do to Harry. But then, before he could do so, Hermione asked a question herself. "Professor, what should we do? Surely we should get to learning new spells, correct?" "Right away. It's the only way we can defend ourselves." Snape gave a stiff nod, and he and Hermione then went on for the next few months to teach Harry how to perform occlumency. A few months later, Snape and Harry were in the dungeons, in Snape's own classroom. Hermione was there as well. Snape quickly shot his wand at Harry and cried, "Legilimen's!" Harry had been trying to block this for several months now, and at first it appeared that it wasn't working. Snape could see into his mind, his thoughts were on display for all to see. But then, after a few months, when he tried hard, really hard with all his might, he was able to block it out. "Good," said Snape. "It seems that for once in your pathetic life, Potter, you are able to actually do something good with magic." Snape always did this, and Harry knew that he meant well, in his own special way. After all, he might be his godfather, but that didn't mean that Snape was going to show him favoritism or give him praise like an actual father who cared. No, Snape was not changing his own ways after all these years. Hermione, on the other hand, praised her boyfriend. "Well done, Harry dear. You're doing excellent. But I think we should start teaching other people how to defend themselves." Hermione had asked Harry about this a while back, about teaching the rest of the students how to perform defensive spells, if Umbridge wasn't going to do it for them. Harry had considered this on and off for a few days. At first, he didn't want to be the one in charge of doing the defensive magic classes, but after he thought about it, he decided that he would be the best person for the job. After all, it had been him who had defeated Voldemort. "Harry, you need to do it. It's the only way we can defeat Hermione didn't want to say the word. She struggled, but with one look at her boyfriend, the man she loved with all her heart, she said one word: "Voldemort." In that moment, Harry decided that he would do it. And for the next few months, he and Hermione, along with Snape, taught the rest of the students of Hogwarts how to defend themselves from spells, curses, and other things such as jinxes and hexes. Time passed, and Umbridge was starting to wonder where all the students were going at the end of the day after classes had finished. She tried asking Snape questions, but he simply denied all her claims. She then thought that she should go to Dumbledore about this, but the headmaster simply had no idea what she was going on about, and therefore shunned her away. Umbridge thought that she should probably go to the Minister of Magic next. However, Fudge was having his own problems at this point in time. For you see, he was still trying to deal with a serious black issue. Well, he thought there was a serious black issue. After all, people like Harry and Hermione knew that Sirius Black was actually innocent the whole time. But by being busy with this, though, it meant that he had no time for once for his beloved Umbridge, and this was something that she just couldn't stand. What is the minister playing at? Thought Umbridge in her office. Surely he must have time for me, the one person who actually does what he asks. I won't stand for this, she thought to herself. I must confront the boy myself. Yes, he must be punished. Umbridge then cornered Harry and Hermione one day, after they've come out of the Ruiner requirement, doing a defensive class for the rest of the students, and she asked what it was they were doing. They simply said that they were preparing for Dumbledore's next weapon to take over the Ministry. Umbridge was shocked and confronted the headmaster about this. Dumbledore then escaped from Hogwarts with Fawkes, and Hermione and Harry took Umbridge to the Forbidden Forest to pretend to show her where the weapon was. Unfortunately for Umbridge, though, she ended up in a bad situation. As for you see, the Centaurs did not play kind to having their forest interrupted by the wizards and witches of Hogwarts, and Umbridge was not very kind towards them. She called them names, awful hags, and tried to even use magic on them. But they simply dragged her away into the forest. Before she is fully dragged away, however, she pleaded with Harry and Hermione to help her out and get her away from the ugly horses. Please, please help me, she cried to Harry and Hermione. Please, boy, tell them I mean no harm. But Harry simply glared at Umbridge, and with a slight smile on his face he said, in a mocking and sarcastic tone, I'm sorry, Professor, but I must not tell lies. And Umbridge was then dragged into the Forbidden Forest, never to be seen again.